government, some of the sittings are not even being carried on. For instance, it is expected the composition of local government account embraces the Revenue and Fiscal Monitoring Allocation Committee at the Federation to be a member of such committee. The Office of the Accountant General is also to be represented. That is what is implied here in Abuja. But in the case of the state, such things are not there. The essence why they are there is to actually see whether the money allocated to state flow back to the local government. Yes. And then the Accountant General is to monitor the disbursements of such funds. But in a situation where they are not involved, it is the state governor or the commissioner of local government that are saddled with such responsibility. In most often, at the state level, the funds are pulled together probably for some project, probably within the city centers, while some area, local government are neglected. And we feel at the local government level that shouldn't be the case. Local government is supposed to service the people. In the first place, every local government is expected to have a budget. If you have a budget and you don't have the fund to back it up, how then do we implement it? So we feel that the pronouncement made by the president is a pronouncement in the right direction, where the local government will be liberated at the state level for them to carry out such services that is required of them. That is why you see these days, urban areas are most populated because the rural areas are underdeveloped. Yes, because the money is not there. Because the money is not there at the local government for them to implement what social responsibility that they're supposed to implement. For instance, like infrastructure, for instance, like the Medicare, for instance, like the water. And that is why people move down to area where those things are happening. And yes, in most of the state, such funds are utilized probably in developing one section within the local government, leaving other sections. So if each area, local government or area council has its money, you all have your priority program,
they can embark upon.
Which they can embark upon. Okay. I want to give you an answer. For instance, in Abuja, I live in Kwali, and there is a community which is about 10 kilometers. I was voted in 2013. We constructed a 5.5 kilometer road at FAT. Now people don't come to live in Kwali again. They prefer to stay in their community and come to work in Kwali. Okay. That means
because transportation is easier.
The transportation is easier. That means the local government or the area council, in the case of FCT, are attracting development down to the grassroots. But in a situation where probably if the funds were pulled together and development is only centered within Kwali, yes, people within the rural area will not have the benefit of the development that is transforming within their area. So they will prefer to come to Kwali.
Yes. Barrister TIETIE, now for this local council chairman, do you think there will ever be a time where, you know, we can see a council chairman take legal action against the governor? For instance, I belong to another party. I do not really subscribe to this wonderful library project that they're trying to put somewhere in the state, and all local governments in the state have deductions from their allocation towards that project being executed by the governor in the name of, you know, joint project or counterpower project and that kind of thing. And the governor is PDP, I'm DPP, for instance. Are we likely going to see a situation where council chairman can take the governor to court?
Well, that ought to be the case, but unfortunately, most of the council chairmen do not have clean hands. So they do not have that moral strength to be able to stand up against the unlawful deductions from the joint account. So and that's why we haven't seen. Now, in the Second Republic, you will find that when the revenue allocation formula was being tampered with by the federal government at that time, the government of Bendel State at that time challenged the federal government, and it won. the Supreme Court, I mean, said that the federal government didn't have such powers to tamper with the existing revenue allocation formula. Now, the state government stood up to that. Now, I mean, it not only took the federal government to court, but all the state governments, all the state attorney generals were joined in that matter. So, ideally, in fact, I want to caution here that we shouldn't be too hasty in endorsing the president's, you know, intentions in trying to see that, like what the Honorable Chairman has referred to, a liberation of the local government from the state government. No, no, no. What we have seen, which has actually been the problem, is I don't want to use a harsh word like irresponsibility of the citizenry, and then of the local councils, and then the houses of assembly, and then also.
Why would you blame the citizens in this matter in which they really do not have?
Well, the Honorable Chairman has harped it here that the local government, in description, is closest to the people. Yes. Now, the people feel the government, they know what the government is. We have all been in the local government, we have all been governed by local councils before, wherever we are, even right here in the FCT. Yeah. I frequently visit Kwali, and I also visit other local councils, other area councils in the FCT. Look, local government councils ought to be providing what we refer to as municipal services. Now, some of these gargantuan projects that they are attempting to do actually are supposed to be left for the states. So they ought to. Now, unfortunately, the most painful part of it is that the idea, as it appears, because you call JAC account, but also remember it's also FAC account. Now, the difference is a constitutional matter. So the president cannot just by a presidential proclamation think that he can actually liberate.
No, but let's be fair to the president.
Yes.
He also made reference in his speech to say that I know that to a large extent constitutionally I cannot directly interfere, but I will not stand by and watch a lot of these things happen.
But you see,
so he knows his constitutional limitations.
Let's look at it this way.
Yes.
There hasn't been a time where by law the Revenue Mobilization Allocation and Fiscal Commission says that this is the amount that is due to Delta State, and then the federal government withholds it. It cannot. It hasn't happened. It's practically impossible. So why does it happen?
Well, except when you create development councils. Anyway,
no, of course. That is an anomaly.
That is an anomaly.
Yes, it doesn't happen. Yeah. Now, we ask ourselves a question. Why is it that the state government can now, deduct unlawfully, illegally, and to a large extent, criminally, make deductions from the joint local government account? Why? It is because while at the federal level, the composition is different. You can find out that you find a local government, the commissioner at the state heads the local government, the joint account committee. Yeah. At the same time, meanwhile, in the federal government, you have the Minister of Finance, with all the commissioners of finance as members of that committee. Now, the Constitution ensures that committee, it's not only for the committee to allocate the monies, but must ensure that the monies that is supposed to be going to that particular state goes to the state. So but that responsibility is missing in the state. In the state and the local government relationship. That is the reason why I believe that it is hasty if we think that we want to liberate the local government. No, the system, the law, the constitution as it is, only if practice is perfect. The state government was involved just for the purpose, like we saw in our report, for the purpose of supervision. What the committee at the federal level ought to do, what it does by ensuring that money goes to the state, that's what the state government ought to do. So the citizens, and especially the citizens, I hold the citizens responsible because we have a citizenry that seems to be aloof, that seems to be disconnected from the issues of governance. And they're the first to complain that, look, we're not getting all these things. But you don't take the time, you don't take they don't make any effort in ensuring that, look, what does the law say on this matter?
Okay. Now, let's come back to Honorable Ibrahim. Do you get some level of consultation when, for instance, this issue of joint projects, we are doing a project together. Do you have projects like that in the FCT where the councils also contribute, to whatever monies that are being generated for a project that benefits everybody?
No, I don't think in FCT we have such scenario. But however, there are one or two things that I want to make a clarification from the barrister.
Yes, please.
For instance, the comment made or the speech made by Mr. President, I think it's a speech in the right direction. First and foremost, let's look at the pedigree of the kind of person Mr. President is. He's a man that stands on his word. Now, the laws are there and are very clear in terms of the joint account, but how enforceable are such laws? These are some of the problems we have in the implementation. Then secondly, there is one thing that I want to bring to bear.
Yes.
For instance, in some of the states, are there really elections at the local government level?
Honorable Chairman.
Most of the time, some...
Barrister, let's hear him out. He's making a very valid point.
Most of the time, some states appoint people as caretakers.
Yes.
What legitimacy do they have as local government chairman? Secondly, their terms of office are not clearly defined. Well, in the case of FCT, FCT is fortunate that when you are elected, you are sure that you are going to end your tenure. And so, in planning and implementation becomes much easier. In the case of FCT, you are sure that revenue or fund accruing to you from the federation account will get to you.
You are supervised by the National Assembly.
We are supervised by the National Assembly.
Unlike the states where the governor
FCT.
can talk to their state.
So we believe that what Mr. President, or the idea he has in mind, is that the implementation of the Revenue Act at the state level should be implemented to the latter.
Yes.
If that is done, then we can see development going pari passu with that of the state. Because you find out that most of this money that we talk about, other deduction or joint project, are projects that are either concentrated on few areas where some other local governments
will not benefit at all.
Are neglected.
But there's something that I must point out to our viewers who are, of course, listening to us. The president's speech, and I like to be fair here when we talk about the president's speech. The president's speech really did not demonstrate support for either the state government or the local councils. In fact, if you look at the speech properly, it still goes further to say that he even accused the council chairman of corruption. And so there's accusation to both sides, and the president is saying that on both sides, things are going wrong, so he's going to cast his glance on both the state government and...
Interestingly, we should look at this matter from the point of responsibility, legal responsibility. The president's statement, yes, if it's making a statement that that's the state of affairs in the local government, quite all right. But that it is his responsibility, I disagree. Because, let's look at it this way.
Go ahead.
Now, I look at it from the perspective that it was pointless for the president to even think of, wading into any form of controversy or the anomaly that we are experiencing in the local government system. Now, we ought to emphasize the point that we are a country that is governed by law. Where the Constitution has made copious provisions for how these monies to be allocated. And it has not been done. It's a case of illegality. People need to be punished. Now
let me just go through the president's speech. I just had to pick it out of my iPad quickly. Constitutionally, there are limits to powers of each of the three tiers of government, but that should not mean the federal government should fold its arms and close its eyes to what is going on in the states and local governments, not least the operations of the local government joint account. While the federal government cannot interfere in the details of its operations, it will ensure that the gross corruption at the local level is checked. As far as the Constitution allows me, I will try to ensure that there's responsible and accountable governance at all levels of government in the country. For I will not have kept my own trust with the Nigerian people if I allow others abuse theirs under my watch. Yeah. I don't know.
We're not attacking the president. Yeah. What we must emphasize here is that we have a systemic problem. And in tackling a systemic problem, we don't have to personalize it. In the person of the president, he doesn't have to personalize that. I mean, it's not his responsibility in the first place. Could it be... Now, he can make pronouncements that are in the national interest, and then give all the support, the institutions, the state institutions like ICPC and EFCC, and I mean, make pronouncements that are helpful in the implementation of the law. The law has been abused. We found the commissioners of local government and the state governors abusing it to criminal dimensions. Nobody has been held responsible. That is where we should start from. And
I think that's where the president wants to start from.
That would be a presumption. But the truth about it is this. We are expecting our president to ensure that our system works. If our system and our institutions are working, and the people, because the most painful aspect of this is that the people in the local government are not holding the local council responsible. The state House of Assembly are not holding the local government chairman responsible. But so
you are in the FCT, so it's different. In other states, they don't even see their council chairman. The council chairman resides in the
It's not about saying the council chairman at the local government level. We used to be held accountable. You see, when the president makes pronouncement, it's a way forward. The way forward is to tell the Nigerians that, of course, it's no longer going to be business as usual.
So what is it going to do?
Now, the truth about it is that if there is any state who has been holding onto the local government fund, release the fund to the local government so that the local government can be held accountable. In a situation where there is this called the joint account or joint project, who is to be held responsible in the first place? You cannot hold the local government chairman responsible because probably he may not be the initiator of such project. And so, who pays the fund? Who expend on his behalf? Is the state. And in this situation, it's supposed to be the local government that should be held responsible in utilization of its own fund. And that is where the president, Mr. President, he is saying that both tiers should be seen operational, not maybe the operational aspect of the local government being hijacked by the state. That is what he's saying.
Let me give you the last word.
Yes, every state has a local government law. Now, these monies are allocated according to law. Now, the person who is supposed to be responsible in ensuring, in holding the governor, the local government chairman accountable is the governor, not the president. So allow the governor to do his job. Now, in this case, the governor is now the offender. He is the one who is breaking the law.
Okay. Well, we have to leave it at that. Very contentious issues. Of course, for me as a journalist, the direct interpretation of what is happening is that for President Buhari, in his inaugural speech, to single out this issue and talk about it means that for him is already an issue that he has prioritized, is an issue he's going to ensure that, you know, he casts his glance there. And I'm sure he probably has an idea of the rot in the system. That's why he's brought it up. So time will reveal, of course, all the intentions of President Muhammadu Buhari, but we'll continue to watch and hope for the best. Honorable IBRAHIM, I want to thank you so much for finding time all the way from Kwali to join us this evening on our program. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And of course, Barrister Frank TIETIE, thank you so much also for joining us to cast some legal aspects or perspective to our discussion. I will just, Chairman, so you take this with you back to Kwali.
Thank you.
And you have it on your desk.
Thank you.
All right. Barrister Frank TIETIE, thank you so much. Gentlemen, you can just sit down. Yes. All right. This is where we're going to draw the curtain on our program for tonight. Of course, on Sunday, 2 p.m., we'll be back here to take a look at another interesting issue. And of course, we'll be having some entertainment segment on Sunday on the show. My name is Mahmoud Akura from Nigeria's Federal Capital Territory. Thank you so much for watching. See you Sunday, 2 p.m. Bye-bye.